The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the complete that. He's crazy
Side by side, Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through, he tags Richard Eck.
The sun rises in the east, and so it seems fitting the new season of iRacing's IMSA series begins here in Japan at Suzuka. For 12 weeks, 3 classes will be fighting tooth and nail for every inch of track on fantastic circuits around the virtual world. But to up the ante even more, GSRC will be covering a special championship within this series every Friday evening. Who will kick things off with a win? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 1 of the HPP Simulation Sportscar Challenge, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Joining me in the booth tonight is Sean Ambrose, covering the Daytona Prototype and GT3 classes. Also with us is Justin Prince to bring us all the action in the GTE class. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Justin, this track is probably more well known for open wheel racing, but sports cars have been pounding the pavement here for just as many years. Tell us about Suzuka.
Well, since the track's opening in 1962, this beautiful 3.6 miles / 5.8 kilometer circuit has seen a lot of action. This brainchild of Dutch track designer John Hugelholtz, as well as car and motorcycle manufacturer Soichiro Honda, has hosted multiple events and series in its history, from the Japanese Grand Prix in Formula 1 to the World Tour Car Championship. It even hosted at one point a NASCAR exhibition race in the 1990s. While the track layout has changed over the years, most recently with 130R in the early 2000s for safety reasons, the racing has always been exciting to watch here at Suzuka. It is also a decent place for any beginner drivers in the field to get themselves acquainted with this season's cars. Now, to help us navigate through this 17-turn circuit, here is your GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Heading down into turn 1, it's a fast kink and bleeds straight into turn 2. Going too wide into here will be difficult and dangerous. The draft may give you an opportunity, but someone will need to back out or else it's bad news. Lots of banking here in 2 to really carry your speed. After that, you're sent straight into the S's where the line is absolutely critical to a good lap time. With each corner flowing into the next, it's all about setting up for the following turn. Perhaps the most important of these is the final right-hander, where you need to hug the right side to allow yourself a good run into Dunlop Corner. In a GT3 car, it's flat out all the way up to Degner 1, so getting a bad exit out of the S's could leave you vulnerable. Plus, you'll see Degner 1 here is tight and fast. It's another corner that's risky to attempt going through too wide. It also leads straight into Degner 2. It's the slower corner, but more heavily embanked and rewards drivers who can carry their speed over the apex. Now we've got a little kink leading into the hairpin. This is a potential passing zone, but predicting your opponent's line can sometimes be difficult, and drivers are often caught out by a sudden defensive move. Regardless, coming out of the hairpin is another place where a good exit can be extremely important. Once again, we're going to be flat to the floor all the way through turn 12. As you reach the end of it, you'll want to drift the car to the right, set up for spoon curve. This double apexer has a fast entry and a difficult threshold. Cars spinning off after going over the limit is not an uncommon sight. And just to pile on more pressure, it dumps the car onto the backstretch. Once again, the car behind will be catching your slipstream, so once you're confident you can get the power down, you better do it. Like most important turns on this track, it leads to a fast corner where being side by side can be extra dangerous. The infamous 130R requires incredible commitment and accuracy to hit your marks. And as you exit, you'll pull the car across the track and get ready for the Casio Triangle. This is another place where passes are common, but with it being a chicane, when anyone fights back, you're both going to have to give each other room and respect to come out intact. From here, we simply power down around the final corner since we've hit the pit straight, and as long as you've managed to keep it on the black stuff and pointed forwards, you've completed the lap around Suzuka. With that lap guide in the GT3 car, obviously 3 classes out there today going to be competing at the same time, and they are doing their lone qualifying currently. But despite there being an iRacing championship, an official one that the drivers are competing for, these Friday broadcasts at the same time slot each week, Sean, is going to have its own special championship sponsored by HPP Simulation. Tell us about how that's going to work.
Let's go over that real quick. Don't want to get anybody confused. It's very simple to figure out, okay? So any of the drivers participating in the IMSA Sports Car Championship at 8:45 p.m. Eastern in 2017 Season 3 here, and will qualify, okay, for this challenge. And we'll also gain points in the official series and the HPP Simulation Challenge. Now, the HPP points only considered for the GSRC broadcasted races, okay? So the races that you see, there is a separate challenge for. Okay, now only the top split counts. It's the only one we're covering this season. So pay attention to that. Now, points given for each class will result. So we've got the GT3s, the GTEs, and the Daytona prototypes. And there are 2 drop weeks allowed for this 12 race session. And the points will follow the real world IMSA point system, Joe.
Excellent, which means the winner of each class is going to get 35 points, and points will be awarded down to 30th in class. Now, with the races being split at 40 cars, we don't expect to get a class to have 30 cars. Even still, there is pressure to show up each week and to perform well to gather those points together. They will be looking to boost their egos to be able to say that within this special championship, they came out on top. So, as they have just about 2.5 minutes left on the qualifying here, Justin, this is multi-class, but they do have to race within their class. Now, that means doing some overtaking if you want to get up to the lead. Where do you expect within class drivers to maybe try to make some passes today?
Well, within the classes, you'll see a lot of drivers trying to make the passes in turn 1, as well as in the hairpin, as well as spoon and the Casio triangle, which could also be a little bit dangerous at times, but you also, as long as you're patient and make the right moves at the right time and not be over aggressive, you can make those passes. Meanwhile, there are some dangerous areas to try that, and some areas that could bring out a lot of incidents, especially turn 1, the Degner corner, turn 1 and 2, 130R, as well as I feel the hairpin, because those are some tight areas to run in, especially going too wide. You have to just time out the passes for the right time and the right moments so you do not mess up and lose control of your car.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that entry to the hairpin. I've always found that very tricky in a battling situation, Sean. That little kink where it kind of makes for an awkward line, and you can't really tell if someone's going to take a defensive line or the natural racing line.
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, the other thing is that, of course, to the left of the line is the wall. It's right there, Joe. It's like right outside your door, like 3 feet from your door. If you're running that line, you're running the white line all the way to the left, you've got to be so careful, because 2 tires off in the grass mean you're going to get sucked into that wall, running with traffic next to you. I want to go back to something that Justin talked about, is turn 1. The race into turn 1, Joe, so much fun in all of these cars, but in the Corvette, you are flying flat out and you're diving downhill in that turn 1. You have to get to the right there. There's a lot of runoff to the left, but the turn itself narrows down very close, very sharp, and then, of course, you're going to slow it down even more to complete turn 1 and get all the way through that first corner into 2. Side-by-side traffic down through there on this opening lap there's going to be a lot going on. Our heads are going to be on a swivel, buddy.
I have no doubt a 45-minute race with 3 classes is sure to be just a little bit hectic. Now, we can see that qualifying is just about over, so as the checkered flag comes out, they will not be able to complete hot laps out here. That means that our grid is in order. Let's go through with David Weiss on the pole, with Michael Evdolka, starting the outside of row 1 in the DPs. Gabriel Roos will be starting in 3rd, followed by Carlo Labate in 4th. Cy Andra in the DPs will round out the top 5 on the grid, with Blake Haswell starting the outside of row 3 in 6th. Austin Zetzman will start in 7th, followed by Nico Rondet in 8th, and then rounding out our DP field in 9th is going to be Eric Brunchen in that position. Let's go to Justin for our GTE field.
And the first in the GTE field will be starting off in the 10th position, Ronaldo Llarena, Fabio Gonzalez and Wendell Pera will be in the next row, while John Elmer and Benjamin Perez follow him up in 13th and 14th in overall qualifying times. Clark Archer and Kevin Riley in row 8. In row 9 will be Lucero Fokolowski as well as Carlos Villa. In row 10, Daniel Kurowski as well as Michael Tater. And Tater will finish out the GTEs. Sean?
Okay, and actually starting on the GT in the 12th, that's going to be Luis Gonzaga Fijo from Brazil. Then let's look at the GT3 class led by Javi Utreres, followed by our old friend there, Dexter Castro. Paul Darling here tonight. He'll start third. Benjamin Hackison making the trip over from overseas there. Starts fourth. Jesse Stevens fifth. CM Skinner going to start sixth. Samuel Harris going to start 7th. Cameron Barry start 8th tonight. 9th, Benjamin Morton. 10th, Stephen Brozowski. And 11th, Mirko Dotonic.
So that is our field. They are going to have half a pace lap, actually probably less than half a pace lap here as they start just before 130R, and the pace car peels off right now to lead them for their rolling start. Real quick, we got a little bit of time. Who's your picks for your two classes, Sean?
You know what? I'm going to take Paul Darling down in the GT3s and up in the prototypes. Man, Cy Andre going to be a hard guy to keep down and out of that first spot.
Justin?
Well, with the GTs, I feel like looking at some of the competitors for tonight's race, I think John Elmer might be in the running for that. I wouldn't count out as well the top qualifying time in Ronaldo Llarena. So a lot of contenders here as they get ready to go.
And already David Weiss getting a good jump on the field. There was a lot of stop-start in the prototypes that could have messed them up. Very close, almost touching doors for second place between Michael Evdoka and Gabriel Roos down into turn 1. Evdoka loses out. In fact, he loses third position, as well as Cy Andre makes an aggressive move up around turn 2. Let's go to the GTEs.
And in the GTEs right now, looking at some of these cars, they are going right now out of the first corner and through the S's, as they have to have a consistent run through these corners throughout the race. Right now going single file. Well, top 5 fairly close up there right now as well. So some decent racing already so far. Wendell Pera made a move. Sean?
Javi Utreres gets off strong on the start of the race. Dexter Castro already half a second behind. Javi again off to a really good start. Did not give a lot of space behind the GTE traffic. He got on the hammer quick. He holds down first. Benjamin Hackison up 2 spots into third. Paul Darling still in 4th. Jesse Stevens up a spot to 5th.
Evdoka up in the prototype seems to be struggling. He was very much under threat from Carlo Labate for that 4th position, but now he has managed to find some pace, and he's on the back of Gabriel Roos as they come through Spoon. Roos way off the apex on the second half. This might give an opportunity to Michael. Up the hill they climb towards 130R. Can't quite get enough draft to get a run on him. He's going to have to stay in line through this fast left-hand sweeper. And they already are coming to complete their first lap of this 45-minute race. David Weiss still your overall leader.
And some decent action meanwhile in the GTEs as Clark Archer is losing a bit of time. He started off 6th overall in the GTEs. He has ran into the grass a couple times already at the start of this, so he is losing time. Meanwhile, the front runners are starting to already pull away. Pera on the back of Llarena's about 5 car lengths back already near the front, while the next 3 afterwards are already fairly close.
In GT3's Benjamin Hackison taking a look to the inside of Dexter Castro. This is for second in that class. Backs out of it though by the time they hit the first corner. Very fast entry into that double-parted corner with 2 right hands, 2 apexes to get in there. Hackison still very much on his tail. He's got to watch out, though, because Paul Darling is very close behind him as they work their way through the single file S's now, Sean.
Yeah, and Hackison again, right there, gets a little bit wide, little squiggly there on the car as they head down to Degner. Look at Paul Darling here as they go through Degner. Paul can get a good run through there. Yeah, it's smooth, but it's not enough. Hackison going to hold him off for now. Castro doing a good job of playing defense up front there, but Yavi still the class of this field.
And a little bit of trouble just moments ago out in Spoon, actually, in the GTEs, as and the hairpin, correct me there, as Elmer took the corner a little bit too strong, got loose and lost a couple of positions. So he is now falling behind after losing control there. It's about getting stabilization, and Ulmer is seeing that right now.
Oof, nearly got into the back of the car just in front of him. Ulmer is able to recover. Thankfully, as he works his way up to 130R, he's got Clark Archer now close behind him, although Archer backs off coming through 130R. Now they slow down coming into the Casio Triangle. A little bit of a battle behind them for position as Luciano is trying to hold off Daniel Krasowski. Manages to do that. Krasowski getting slowed up in that chicane and now is under threat from Michael Tater and Luis Gonzago Filho.
And some good action, that's for sure, as there's the move now. Tater looking to try get it under Kuzelski, almost gets on the back bumper, or heading to the first corner, try to go a bit aggressive. That's kind of what you have to do at times to get the passes, but you also have to play it safe at other times to time it out right. So some great action near the back of the GTEs.
Oh, and Michael did not get a good run into the S's here. Looks like maybe we're going to see a pass around the outside. Beautiful move by Luis Filho. And boy, Michael's going to have to be careful about how closely he trails other cars, or the front of that car is going to be mashed taters.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a good way to describe it, I guess. Very good way to describe it for all the classes, really.
The lead has not been able to stretch away. David Weiss a second ahead of Cy Andre, who's had a fantastic start. Cy started in 5th position, now up to 2nd, has been holding on. Gabriel Roos just about the same amount behind him.
Oh, Paul Darling and John Stevens get together. Jesse Stevens get together. Whoa, Stevens backs it up just in front of traffic. Let's get it on the replay.
Oh, just, wow, sending it in there.
Stevens in that orange car. It's Darling getting turned around in his Audi. Let's go on board Jesse Stevens here, Joe.
Wonder if this is what we talked about just a bit ago. Yeah, just very late move. Didn't really have much presentation there, Sean.
Yeah. It's a tough break for Paul. He was doing pretty well, actually, moving up through. Now he's towed and off to the pits.
I think we might have had some action with Mirko Dotenik and at the GT3s as he was well off the pace. Guess he just looks like he drifted a little wide through 130R, and he's falling backwards as now he looks to be in 3rd to last position in that class. Now we're on the prototypes, however. Cy Andre still in that 2nd position, being hounded by Gabriel Roos, who's also under threat from Michael Evdovka. Still wants those positions back. Horrible exit off of the hairpin from Michael, though, as Carlo Labate now closing in on that rear spoiler. Things staying extremely tight up at the front of the prototypes. No one seemingly able to really get themselves a gap away from anybody else. One mistake is going to cost you position, Sean.
Yeah,
I like to mention this here. Sorry for cutting you off, Sean. There was just a mistake just mentioned back in the GT3s as Daniel Krasensky and Luis Gonzago Filho got into contact and around went Krasensky. So Krasensky's going to lose a few spots there after that contact on the GSRC replay.
We're going to watch it one more time from above here. Dove to the inside. Looks like he tried to defend. But unfortunately for Daniel, that did not go well as he gets tipped around and comes out the worst of it.
Some bad luck there, but with that being the hairpin, that's possibly what you will see a fair amount tonight in all classes.
I would not doubt it. Let's go to Luciano Fakowski, who's trying to get past Carlo Villa and the GTEs. This is down in 16th overall as down the front stretch they go. You can see in the Ford GT, it's Carlos Villa being chased by the Ferrari of Luciano Falkowski down into turns 1 and 2, closes in that little bit under braking. Now they work their way once again into the single file S's. Going to have to stay patient unless we see a brave move like we did earlier.
Yeah, usually through these S's you are going about 90, 95 miles per hour, up to about 110 in the third gear. It's just about staying stable and just consistently hitting your marks through the S's and then getting ready to make your moves in the upcoming turns.
Guys, I've got a really, really good battle developing back here in the GT3s. It's actually a battle for 7th in class. Benjamin Morton just got past Sam Harris there, the Blackadder driver from Pennsylvania, and put the move on him in the Casio Triangle, and now got himself in front. Benjamin off to the races, as they say. Jesse Stevens quite a bit up the road. Benjamin been back there working on taking that spot from those guys. He also picked it up on Mirko Daltonic, who had a little trouble, but is now back up to speed. Good racing here, though. I got a feeling Sam Harris not very, very happy about the pass that was just made. He wants it back.
He is right on top of Benjamin, not letting him go in the least, as now they come around 200R up towards Spoon. Could get an opportunity, but he looks to be just a little bit too far back. Here's where he needs to focus on getting those apexes very strong on the brakes into that corner. Closes up onto the rear spoiler of Benjamin Morton. See if he can get the run off of there. Very good exit by Samuel Harris. He's in the draft now. You can see Benjamin going a little bit defensive. He comes back to the racing line. Lets him have the inside. Are they going to go too wide through 130R? Is he going to back out of it? Benjamin Morton just barely sneaks in behind him, but ever so closely.
Thought Morton was going to try and attack, cross him over. Oh, come in the picture. Oh, wow. Mirko come in hot. Did he get a piece of him, Joe?
Yeah, there was definite contact. Mirko Daltonic just giving what you like to call a center punch, as we got a battle here in the prototypes for third position. Michael Avdovka trying to get that spot back that he lost on lap 1 around the outside into Spoon on Gabriel Roos. Does he make it stick? He goes a little bit wide, finds the grip out on the AstroTurf. Can he get it coming out of the corner? The car wobbling as he tries to get the power down. I think he's got it. Now Carlo Labate trying to chase Gabriel Roos up the hill towards 130R, but he's going to back out of it. Action coming thick and fast in the DPs now.
Yeah,
way off the apex there. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
As it looks like Michael is not done yet. Just cannot keep this car steady. Big wobble coming out of the final corner for Gabriel Roos. It looks like these cars struggling for grip out there, Sean.
Sai definitely tried to give it to him. Not by any choice of his own. Now Michael backs off a little bit. He's going to follow here for a second. Maybe look for another opportunity on Andra. Oh, getting out of turn 2. Side with a little bit of wheel spin there off the top of the curb. Got to hit these apexes just right, Joe.
That's Michael Avdovka who's leading the way. Side just a little bit up the road in second place. He's got about 2 seconds on these guys, but he's very much putting the pressure onto David Weiss for the lead. There you can see on screen the gap between those two. Sai, if he can go from 5th to 1st, that'll be quite the accomplishment.
And looking back at the GTs now, John Ilmer has lost control again, just rolled through the grass as we're just coming back. He was coming out of turn 1 and got a little bit loose just now, as that is just showing how you have to make sure you have your marks tied up correctly at this track. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ronaldo Urena is currently leading big time, about 3 seconds over Wendell Pera, as he's just consistently running 154 lap times, while Pera's hitting the 155s. Fabio Gonzalez is coming right up behind him in third, slowly but surely approaching 1.7 seconds back, while Benjamin Perez sits back in fourth place right now. So some pretty exciting racing going on there with some certain incidences going on, but other than that, some good clean racing in the GTEs right now.
Oh, and we had a car off at the hairpin. I believe that was Carlos Villa, maybe?
Yeah, it was, Joe. Carlos Villa noses it into the barrier and off into the sand. Picks up a little damage on the right side of that Ford GT.
With Team America scheme, of all things.
Yeah.
I love that. But that's going to slot him down to ninth, unfortunately, in that Ford GT, losing a number of positions trying to find his way back to the black stuff.
Da-da-da, da-da.
No, I don't think he can sing that one. It's on air. Meanwhile, let's go to the overall lead. Andra in second is still getting closer and closer. Now within 2/10 of David Weiss, really putting the pressure on. Can he do anything? He's still got 31 minutes left to go. A lot of racing. He has time to be patient. Horrible exit off of Degner 2 for David Weiss. He stays off to the left so he can be defensive. Down into the hairpin. Can Andra get the over-under here? Tries to find the late apex. Can't quite get the power down strong enough. They're going to be dead even off the corner.
Andra patient? Are you kidding me? He's a trained Blackadder assassin. Okay, come on. We've seen plenty of him in the endurance racing over the years, Joe. He's definitely a good one.
It's conflicting clubs for you, Sean. It's a New England driver versus a Texas driver.
I know. I'm well aware of it. Yeah, David's another good one too. He's a good guy and definitely one of the stalwarts of the Texas club for sure.
It's hard to peel ourselves away from this because apparently we have a battle for second in GT3 as well. Sai is oh so close. Let's see if maybe he can do anything down into turn one, but he's stretching away that little bit. So I think we can manage to peel ourselves away and go to Dexter Castro, who's holding off Benjamin Hackison.
Yeah, well, that's been brewing for a bit, Joe, and so far Dexter's been able to hold him off, but Hackison really putting on the pressure here in the hairpin.
Almost hard to know where to look because he's got two cars actually trying to find their way past. You can see as we ride on board with Castro looking back at Hackison and Cameron Barry in third. Or excuse me, no, that's actually that's one of the GTEs. That's Kevin Riley just behind him in the Ford. Oh, and we got to go to the lead. The overall lead under threat, side by side through Degner 1. They make contact. Andra trying to go around the outside, but that did not work. Let's look at the replay if we can get just a quick moment to glance on board of Sai, looking over his shoulder. Boom, look at that. And apparently they're getting on the radio. Both of them tried to back out of that move, and that's why they came together.
And try and work together as well.
Well, this has helped Michael Evdoka really close up on him. Go ahead, Sean.
I just want to say both two really professional drivers. They had a little discussion about it, and they have moved on. They're back to racing.
You can always tell the drivers that can hold a cool head under pressure, not letting themselves crack and get caught up in the moment. But a bad exit by David Weiss once again. Here comes Andra, but he doesn't try and stick it in down into the Casio triangle. This is getting Michael Evdoka ever closer as now Andra gets his nose into the inside with great grip coming out of the Casio triangle. He's now ahead as they come across the line. Andra is going to lead that lap, but it's not over yet as David starts to come back around the outside up to turn one. Are they going to go too wide through here? No. David decides to wait for another day.
Well, there's still a pit stop. Remember, we haven't even talked about that, Joe. We do have a pit stop to factor in here, and the window opens for them here in about 3 laps.
And it's not even Michael Evdoka we have to worry about. Gabriel Roos, look at this. Our top 4 are within a second and a half, Sean. In fact, look at the top 5. Carlo Labate, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, quite a battle indeed. Carlo having a really good run himself. the Italian driver. I think the only Italian driver in this field.
A little bit of a threat for third place as Avdovka getting some pressure from Gabriel Roos down to the hairpin, but nothing doing there. Now that we got an opportunity, let's go to second place in the GTEs. Wendell Parra, the Brazilian, you were talking about him, Justin. He's got Fabio Gonzalez on top of him.
Well, as long as Parra does not lose control, he almost lost control as we were just getting to the conversation there, as they're going into Dragno right now. That battle is starting to get pretty close right now, as right now you can see they are just zooming in and out through those turns. Right now, Parra losing ground on Reyna, pardon me. The up front, as he is slowly getting gained on right now, as you can see, by Gonzalez. Gonzalez currently running faster lap time, 0.6 of a second on the last lap, actually. And he is currently also closing in completely right now if you look at the driver stats. So right now, Parra losing ground on Urena right now, which he is losing a ton of ground on, in fact. 4.6 seconds up the road right now and gaining. Well, Parra's just looking to try and distance himself, just has to focus on his marks.
I'm not sure if he'll appreciate the screen time, but if we could get John Ulmer in 5th in the GTEs, I'm kind of impressed, Justin, that Ulmer is this far up after the few mistakes that we've seen from him. He seems to have recovered well, although he's nowhere close to 4th place Perez at the moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the recovery, actually, because he's gotten loose a few times now, and whether it's from the grass or just going a little too fast exiting the corner. As we've seen with the GTEs, it is about hitting your marks, like I've said probably 6 times now, but as well balancing the throttle control, as well as not going too fast, because you'll go in the grass or spin around if you hit the throttle even a little too hard.
We got a side-by-side battle for 4th. Gabriel Roos and Carlo Labate.
Oh.
Labate comes out the worst of it. Coming out of the hairpin, they're now working their way through Spoon. These top 5, my eyes are just always going back to them, as Roos really getting off of Spoon horribly. And now Carlo Labate trying to take advantage as he peeks to the inside. Is he brave enough to try and stick it in before 130R? He's getting right up behind him. He does, in fact, stick his nose in. They're going to go side by side. He slides through, but can he control it off the corner? Yes, he does. Brave stuff from Labate. Now they've got lap traffic, though, and it's going to get even more chaotic, if you can believe it or not, Justin.
Yes, this is pretty chaotic. These are the lap traffic cars. I'm trying to see the exact car right in front of them, as it looks like we got pit stops meanwhile, pardon me.
And a pass for the lead, potentially no. Sai, we thought, was pinned in, but David Weiss not able to take advantage of it. Whew.
Yeah, he rolled up on that other, out-of-class traffic there, and it got tense.
We've also had some cars pitting. Labate, one of them, electing to get out of this mess and see if he can find himself some time with clean track out there. You can see the number 5 has now finished his stop.
Yeah, and you're really just coming in for fuel here. No reason to grab any tires, Joe.
I thought I saw some other cars pitting. I'm trying to check my stats here to see who came in.
Daltonic had come in. He's struggled just a bit, been off several times. He came in just a lap ago, or just now is getting out.
So that may have been unscheduled.
Yeah, this is about the pit window time as well for everyone, really. The GTEs.
Oh, big slide for Cameron Barney.
Sorry about that, Justin. On screen, we had some serious action we needed to cover because it was right in front of our DP leaders, and now Michael Avdovka almost went off on the exit of Spoon, manages to recover it. That loses him a ton of time on 1st and 2nd. Go ahead, finish your thought, Justin. Sorry.
Yeah, when you're racing like this, your head's basically on a swivel trying to keep up with all the action, as you said before. But this is the pit window for everyone, really. The lap 12 to 13 right now, the GT3s that are currently showing on screen, those are going to have to be pitting in the next couple of laps, as they are going to need fuel quickly. They are usually at about a fuel limit to start off the race at about 45% for this upcoming season, while the GTEs are going to be pitting any time from this lap onto his latest lap 16. So it's going to come down to a lot of pit strategy now. It's going to be trying to see who will go and win.
And we're watching this battle for second place in the GT3s. We ride on board with Hackson hounding Dexter Castro. And Sean, we know the kind of speed that Hackson has, coming off of a win earlier this week at Silverstone and the Autobahn Motorcar Group Sports Car Challenge.
Yeah, Hackson just all over the place, isn't he? And having a good run, but tell you what, Dexter Castro, a tough guy to get around, but he's putting the pressure on. It's still on. It's been on for, I don't know, 11 laps now? And the boosted motorsport machine of Benjamin Hackson been in pure chase form since we got started. Castro, though, just playing an excellent job at defense, making that car just a little wide when he needs to, but really where Castro has excelled is getting off the corners, and he's always able to pull away just a bit, and then Hackison's got to get back to work, get in that toe, and then make it up and maybe break a little bit deeper, so he's definitely driving the car harder than Dexter is right now.
Now, as we watch this battle, I'm not sure that we've actually shown our GT3 leader yet this race, Javi Utreras. If we can, there's the cameras on him now, as he leads the way at about 2.5 seconds. So he's not really that far up the road. He's pretty safe at the moment, but has really been unchallenged since the green has fallen.
Yeah, the positive SimRacing driver, he has been solid since the flag dropped. And from Florida, Javi is in command right now. Dexter and Benjamin been fighting for so long, Joe. Really, right now, you got to try and win this in the pit.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say it's been the same story really at the GTEs with Ronaldo Llarena currently running out still. He has just been in front since the drop of the green flag. Just constantly now pulling away more. Now 4 seconds ahead of Para as the pit window is opening around this time. They are passing by for the GTEs. Gonna have to see when he comes in and decides to hand over this lead. As you can see, Para is losing, still in a tight battle a bit with Gonzalez, with lap traffic in front of him, as that is in front of him, I believe it is Samuel Harris at the moment, as the prototypes, come out of the pits in front of them.
Absolutely. Austin Zetzman just took his pit stop. Nico Rondet both in for scheduled stops and both out now. Rondet actually caused a little bit of headache for John Ulmer around the first corner. Whoa! As Fabian Gonzalez getting right on top of Wendell Para there for a moment, trying to work around the GT3 car of trying to make out who that is. Samuel Harris apparently in the midst of this fracas.
And apparently there was a similar mess going through the pits because one of those GT3s, Mirko Dantanovic, got
was that our leader? Oh, no, that was Wendell Para actually in the GTEs.
That is not good. Let's see what happened here, because this is not good right now for Para. He's winning second, just got squirrely there through the corner, went in too fast, went off the rumble strip into the grass. Bad luck for Para. And I think
okay, the Cyandra and David Weiss are in, Joe, in the prototypes.
So we see them come in. I'm not sure you could have fit a piece of paper between Para and the Armco and Degner too there. He came so close to touching it. We're watching also Benjamin Hackison has come in for his pit stop. 18.5 minutes left to go on the clock. Here goes Cyandra. He's out first, and he's going to retake the lead just ahead of Hackison.
He got that front end damage, Joe. I don't know if you noticed it on his way in. He had some damage on the front end of that Corvette. He got it fixed. That nose looks clean, and he is out ahead. And boy, that might just be all he needs to wrap this thing up. He's just got to keep on pace and keep her in the gray.
And interestingly, he comes out just ahead of Carlo Labate, about 1.5 seconds. I think Labate gained a little bit of time on him with that clear track. Getting some complaints from David Weiss here.
Yeah, I think he had trouble getting around one of the GT3 cars, but we're good now. He's back up to speed.
trying to make hay while the sun shines as he's now closing in on Hackison. In fact, is it just me, or did David Weiss lose a lot of time in that pit stop?
Yeah, he did. Let's see, what was the... Boy, I don't know why, Joe. His time was practically identical to Syandra.
Oh, so it was identical pit times? Wow,
Yeah.
Did he get stuck behind traffic potentially here?
Maybe getting out of the pit?
Potentially. Well,
you know what? Let me go back.
This does mean Hackison exited in front of him, and he must have been stuck behind Hackison through the S's here and could not get past. As we see the battle for the overall lead in the DPs. Can't quite do it as Gabriel Roos still working on Michael Evdovka. Those two have yet to pit, though. Question is, could they be running faster laps than Cy Andra, who is the highest car who has pitted so far? Labate gaining a bunch of time and actually jumping David Weiss for that second position, potentially into the DPs.
Joe, David Weiss was just slow getting out of the pits, period. And had allowed a couple of cars to get in front of him, a couple of GT3s to get by him, and he had to work his way back through him. Steven Brozakowski hold him up just a little bit, but it took a while to clear him, and Benjamin Hackison, of course, he had to get through him too.
And we have a couple pit stops meanwhile as you were just finishing it up with the GTEs. The leader, Ronaldo Urena, is in the pits as he is the one of the first few GTs to come in. John Ulmer is also in. Clark Alcher, Lucero Fokalski following them in. Mike Tatter following them in. So a lot of the cars going right in this lap around.
And guys, in our GT3 class, our leaders did come in for their pit. They're just out now. Javi Utreras comes out, your leader. Dexter Castro, 4 seconds behind in second. Benjamin Hackison, very, very close to his old buddy Dexter Castro. They're still together. Yavi pulling off a successful pit stop, though, and still, like I said, got about a 3.5 second advantage right now.
And our overall leaders are in the pits. Michael Evdovka and Gabriel Roos are now in pit lane, and Cy Andra is making as much time as he can as he goes way wide, coming out of the 130R now through the Casio Triangle. Where is Roos and Evdovka? They're still stationary. Cy Andra now coming down across pit lane. Roos is coming out, but I don't think it's going to be enough as momentum.
Guys, I'm sorry. Trouble in the GT3s. Benjamin Hackison was right going into the Casio Triangle. Oh, right next to Dexter Castro, and there was another car in the mix. It was I think it was a GTE.
It was Blake Haswell.
It was Haswell
trying to avoid. It's actually a prototype we're hearing.
Yeah, it was the prototype. It was the DP there in the middle.
I tell you what, that's a heads up. Yeah, heads up driving. Watch this. For Hackson, saw it coming and got out of it, and still managed to keep the car out of hitting anything as well, which is no mean feat coming into there.
Wow. I'm sorry to bust in, but man, that just unfolded so quickly.
I'm glad you did. Now, Sean, we were trying to figure out why Weiss had trouble after the pit stop. I know we're not looking at drivers changing tires in these pit stops, but do they cool down enough that there's a skill in trying to come out on colder tires as they cool down during the pit stop?
No, really, I think that was just all about how he cycled out. He was maybe didn't get off the limiter quick enough at the line, and it slowed him down just enough that there were 2 more cars able to come by and put distance between him and Sai. To be really honest, I think that's what it came down to there.
Well, as you were speaking about that, pit stops also were going on with the GTEs, and Fabio Gonzalez went in along with Wendell Pera and Benjamin Perez. They were in the top 3. He heading into the pits, while Rihanna is back in the lead now for the GTEs. Luis Gonzalo Filho is currently in second, but he is the only person in his class not to pit so far. So right now, Liena has about at least an 18-second lead over Fabio Gonzalez when you look at it.
So we watch our leader in the GTEs I do want to make note, Carlo Labate, who's actually very close to Sayandra for the overall lead. Carlo's an Italian driver. Now, this series was intentionally kind of picking a time slot that's convenient for Americans. How late is it over in Italy right now? Because Carlo must be quite a night owl, and a very fast night owl, I must say.
You know what, Joe? I'm going to do some crack research on that and tell you here in just about 30 seconds.
And as you look up that, they've got lap traffic in the form of Daniel Krasowski as he moves over to the side to let the overall leaders through. Lifts, nice gentlemanly manner from Daniel in the GTE car. That's going to be a bear claw, as Bill likes to say for him. Meanwhile, Luis Gonzaga Filho comes in for his pit stop, and that is the last of the GTEs that needed their official stop. With that, that's going to give us our order now. After the stops are through, let's give you our top 5 in each class. Sayandra leads the way in the DPs with Carlo Labate in second. Gabriel Roos holds down the final podium spot. He's a little ways off those first two, with David Weiss having slipped from the lead at the start down to 4th now. And then rounding out our top 5 in the DPs is Michael Evdoka. Let's go to Justin for the GTEs.
Well, Rinaldo Riena is currently leading by a dominating 18 seconds at least right now over Fabio Gonzalez. Wendell Pero following them 4 seconds, pardon me.
Oh, Labate gets around Sayandra. Oh, sorry, guys. Down into turn 1, Labate just dives in there on the inside of Sayandra. Oh, man.
Not without Sayandra trying. Wow, there was barely cars with. Let's watch this on the replay. All the way inside, saw that little gap, stuck it in there. How did he get that car stopped in time? My goodness.
Okay, so it's 3:30 in the morning for Carlo, okay? I'm thinking he's maybe a little wired out. What do you think, Jeff?
If you don't go for a gap, Sean, right?
If the hole is there, you got to stick it in, man. I mean, just throw it in there. Send it. Hashtag send it.
If that gives the win to Carlo Labate, that is the move of the race for me. Let's go back to Justin to finish out our GTE order.
First off, let me correct the interval with Gonzalez. It is currently now up just 5 seconds, pardon me there, over Fabio Gonzalez right now, who's running in second place. Wendell Pero running in third position right now, followed by Benjamin Perez, who started off 5th in his class, while John Ulmer is in 5th place for the GTEs, who is right up behind Perez, looking to make a move back to 4th. And now to the GT3s. Let's go to Sean.
Yes,
Sean?
sir. All right, so Yavi Utrerez still is holding it down up there up front. Yavi having a masterful run right now. I don't think he's going to be caught unless something miraculous happens or he has a really, really bad incident. We're not going to hope for that for him because Dexter Castro is behind, holding down second place, and still, just he's been in second the whole race. Hackison did.
Oh, and something's happened to Cy.
Oh,
whoa,
man.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's look and see what happened. This was down into turn 1. Sayandra, you're going to see on the replay, the rear starts to come around before he gets to turn 2, and then he's quickly approached by Gabriel Ruz, who plows into him. And they also caught Carlos Villa in the GTE class. Look at that. Oh.
Oh my goodness, that is just some bad luck there. Just went way too hot into the corner and just...
Yep.
Woohoo.
Oh my goodness, we're going to ride on board with Gabriel Roos to see how quickly this erupted. You can see the smoke. That's very much a one-line corner. Just had nowhere to go. Well, if you want action apparently in this series, start calling out the order of each class. Let's finally get back to the GT3, Sean, to finish that out.
Well, Benjamin Haxon is still in third. CM Skinner, we'll go back to him. He's in 4th. CM, pretty quiet run, but 4th, not a bad effort. He's up 3 spots. Cameron Barry, back here in 5th place, still battling with Samuel Harris. It's been a spirited one. Now, they've had some traffic get through them. Some GTEs have to get in the middle of them here, but it has still left them fighting Cameron Barry and Samuel Harris, slugging it out for the top 5 finish.
You can see that battle on screen between the two Mercs as they work their way up towards Degner 1. Not usually a passing spot unless you're extremely brave. They're going to have a GTE car waiting patiently behind them, trying to sneak through.
That's second place in class. That's Fabio Gonzalez right there, the DH driver.
Doesn't look like he's really got anybody near him, so he's trying to take his time. Sticks his nose in just a little bit through the hairpin. No threat for him, so really doesn't have to force the issue. Now, interestingly, we can stay on this if need be, but with the incident that happened at the top of the DP class, and with Gabriel Roos being involved in that, that's promoted David Weiss back up to second, and now Michael Evdoka, who is very close behind him, is on the final step of the podium, and those two positions are very much unsure.
Joe, Evdoka's been solid. He's been very solid. I hope we see more of him. I like his style.
Well, remember, he slipped back early on, all the way down to 4th after starting in 2nd, but has certainly been trying to work his way back forward. It's definitely a never-say-die driver as he smokes the tires heading into the hairpin. That's going to cost him a little bit of time on Weiss. And poor Gabriel Roos, after that damage, drove it all the way around into the pits, and I think he is potentially done for the day. 5 minutes left to go on the clock. We are in the dying stages of this 45-minute race. If you're just joining us, you're watching the official IMSA series on iRacing. This race in particular, though, is the HPP Simulation Sports Car Challenge.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's several drivers in this field with those great HPP pedals, Joe, and boy, we've heard from so many drivers what a difference those pedals make in road racing. That is a pretty slick piece of equipment they produce there at HPP.
Indeed, high quality equipment that they put together here, made in the USA. We watch our leader in the GT3s try to swing this Mercedes home. Number 2 in his class, as you can see on the number on his car. But today he could bump that number up to number 1, gain himself some I rating. Excuse me, that's overall, so I guess he is number 1 in class.
Well, you can always improve a little bit if you're number 1 with I rating, can't you? So, you'll get at least something.
Absolutely. Oh, and it looks like Evdoka has gotten around David Weiss. I'm going to go back and see how long ago that was in case we could get a replay here. And Weiss is a long ways behind. Yes, it was into turn 1 maybe about 40 seconds ago. A mistake from David. In fact, looking very similar to what we saw from Cy Andre here. Look at the rear of the car just come around as he comes into turn 2. Thankfully for Evdoka, he slipped out of the racing line and he just slid on through, said, "Thank you, I'll take P2.
Carlo Labate he's cruising, Joe. He is cruising. Got the fastest lap of the race. Last lap, he was the fastest car on track.
Looking very strong out there in that Corvette DP with 3 minutes to go now. He's got a 10-second lead. As we've seen, nothing is for sure, though. He still has traffic to worry about. Not heavy traffic, mind you. Next up the road is Clark Archer into the GTEs. And then he's got quite a gap to Jesse Stevens.
At this point, it's just been an absolute domination by Urena, if we go up to him, if possible, in the cockpit, just to see how he has been handling with this car. Or he has just been running away with it. You can see he is just smoothly going through the corners, with his turns, not making any abrupt movements, and just timing out what he needs to correctly. But we will now go back to position 3 for the GTEs because Benjamin Perez has closed the gap on Wendell Pera as Pera's getting held up by Cameron Barry. So right now there's a lot of traffic, and Barry is going to get turned there, and Para is going to lose the spot to Perez.
Perez with a bad exit off the corner, though. This battle is still going on as Para gets a good run on him. We're coming back live. We don't have time for the replay, unfortunately.
No
side by side, into 130R. Para to the inside in the yellow machine. Can they make it through here? Who's braver? And it looks like Para's got the spot just a little bit off into the AstroTurf. Goes Perez. Keeps the car going, though, and this has allowed John Ulmer to close in on these guys. It's now a three-way battle with only, a lap to go here?
The estimated laps about 23.6, 24 laps for these cars. So yeah, we are coming down to the wire. A minute 50 to go. A three-car battle now for that position. You can see Ulmer right on back, watching the cars in front of him battle and just waiting for something to happen. I think he might be able to make the move in the next couple of turns if he times it just right.
Ulmer knows what this means. He's got to be licking his chops in that red Ferrari as he's hunting down Benjamin Perez, knowing that he's going to be trying to fight for that spot with Wendell Para. He had it for a moment. He wants it back. The Brazilian trying to fend off the car of the Indiana driver. They come down to Degner 1, nothing doing into there as they're all line astern. In fact, Perez losing a little bit of ground now. And now Ulmer very strong into the brakes, coming into Degner 2. Can't get the exit off the corner. Down into the hairpin they go. All still fighting for that fourth position, third position actually. This is for the podium. Great run by Perez off of the hairpin, closing in on Wendell Para now. All three drivers in Ferraris, all in equal machinery out there. Up into Spoon. This is where the incident happened last time around. And Ulmer swings wide.
No.
He just lost it again. My goodness, that is just some bad luck. He was doing great after the first couple of mistakes early on, but now he just lost his chance in trying to move into third. He basically has secured a fifth spot now.
Joe Carlo Labate out of Spoon one last time down the backstretch. I think we'll get the checkered across the line here with Labate.
Absolutely. 4 seconds left on the clock. This is, in fact, the white flag lap as he goes through 130R one last time. Carlo Labate started this race in fourth position. He was fifth fastest in practice. Out of the final corner, Carlo Labate takes a win today here in the first round of the HPP Simulation Sports Car Challenge.
And right now, looking like a lot of action through the field. Right now, going back to those GTs for a quick second as Urena is currently running away. The battle for third still is wide open as Perez got it a bit loose. And the leader spun! Oh my goodness, Urena has lost it on the last lap! And he's keeping on going as Fabio Gonzalez just got some luck as Gonzalez 6 seconds in closing. And looking as Para is now in the gravel as they go into the corner. And Dragno as right now Perez just running away now with third. This is just absolutely craziness on the last lap.
And Urena has got to be thanking his lucky stars that he built up that gap because he's still in that GTE lead. But we need to go to our GT3 leader as Javi Gutierrez is now coming to the Casio Triangle. Still 5 seconds over Dexter Castro. He could cruise to the line if he wanted to at this point. Javi Gutierrez is going to take the win in the GT3s in the HPP Simulation Sports Car Challenge.
And Castro is going to hold off Hackison, who drove the wheels off of that Merc and just couldn't get there. CM Skinner going to get fourth.
Our GTE winner now coming to the line. It wasn't the cleanest last lap, but Ronaldo brought it home, and that's what counts. Urena takes the win in the GTE class. Woo!
He had the most consistent race up until that last lap. So if it wasn't for that consistency, this would be a whole different result. Fabio Gonzalez second, Benjamin Perez crossing the line in third. And pardon me, it looks like, yes, it will be, I believe, third position in his class. Yes. Wendell Para in fourth. And John Ulmer in fifth.
For that podium position in the GTEs all the way down to the end. We are going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be right back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. And on screen, don't go away because we'll have all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Suzuka. We just watched round one of the HPP Simulation Sports Car Challenge. and it delivered and then some. We were all kind of agog here as soon as we went off air, just talking about how exciting that finish was. Carlo Labate managed to take home the win overall, though he had to fight for it, and he earned this one. Michael F. Doka also had to fight back after a bad start. Started in second, finished second, but he made it exciting along the way. David Weiss coming home in third after being on the pole. That's got to be disappointment for David. Blake Haswell comes home in fourth, just off the podium. We didn't really see much of him, but a nice run from him. Austin Zetzman coming home in the top 5. Nico Rondet finishes in 6th, and then of the DPs that finished the race, it's going to be Eric Brunchen in 7th. Justin?
And with the GTEs, Reynaldo Urena won the GTEs. It wasn't that easy on the last lap, but he still had a 6-second difference over Fabio Gonzalez, who finished off 2nd. Benjamin Perez in a crazy finish for 3rd place. Finished with that said spot, while 4th overall was Wendell Pera. In 5th place, it was John Ulmer, followed by Clark Archer. While falling off behind them, Lucero Fukowski, Luis Gonzalo Filho, as well as Michael Tater, and finishing off in that class was Daniel Krasensky. Pardon me, there was also a couple more cars that were not listed in that exact listing there, which is Kevin Riley, who started up 2 laps down, and Carlos Villa 2, who finished off last in the class. Sean?
All right, then we're going to get to the GT3 class where we saw Yavi Utreras kind of run away with it, guys. But a good fight between Dexter Castro and Benjamin Hackison for the whole race didn't let us down. Castro finished 2nd, Hackison 3rd. CM Skinner going to bring it on 4th. Cameron Barry, a little bit of hard luck there, but does manage to survive and take a 5th. Jesse Stevens had a couple of offs, but he recovers and finishes 6th. Benjamin Morton 7th. Samuel Harris 8th. Mirko Dautonic had his share of troubles and finishes 9th. Stephen Brzezowski, tough night for him, 10th. And Paul Darling, 11th. In the GT3 class here in the HPP Simulation Championship here. And this was a fun one tonight, Joe.
Absolutely, it was. First up, we have our winner in the GTEs ready to come talk to us. Reynaldo Urena is going to join us in the booth. We'll get him mic'd up, and Justin is going to talk to him about that last lap spin and what must have been going through his mind.
Let's see. What was going through my last lap on that Degner curves? Oh yeah, I was just like, bring the car home. Holy shoot, there's a bump there. That's what happened. I hadn't hit that bump all week in practice, but I managed to find it on the last lap of a broadcaster race, so whoopee. Guess I get to make fun of by my friends over there for spinning on the last lap.
But you still had, even with the spin, a 6-second lead after you recovered. How hard was it to have the consistency you had throughout the entire race to pull away like you did and have that much distance, even with a mistake like you had at the end there, to help you have the win? Like, if it was even a bit closer, it could have been a different result.
Yeah, of course. If anything was a bit closer, it would have been a different result. But with that consistency, like you brought up, I've mostly, when I get into practice sessions, I just drill myself up in on race fuel, just race fuel lap after lap after lap after lap, trying to build the consistency. And when I'm as consistent as you've seen, then I start jumping into races. This setup I've had for the entire week has been amazing. I'd like to thank my friend Mati Soha for helping me out with the setup. He did an amazing job with that, helped me out when I was pulling my brains out with it for a little bit. And the car's been great all week, and I'm just so happy to finally get the results I think I deserve.
Yes, indeed, a good result for you. And what do you hope to take from what you've had this week with your team as well and your friends setting up? What do you hope to have happen at Watkins Glen, other than, the obvious, which would be getting our victory?
Well, that's obviously the obvious thing, but just to keep the consistency and the cleanliness up. I mean, this race in particular wasn't the cleanest for me. I had 10 incidents out of 17, which is a lot for being in the lead all by yourself. I don't know, it was just a sloppy race. But just maintaining and working through traffic better. There was a couple situations in there where I struggled through traffic through the S's. There was a time in there where I just kept catching GT3 traffic lap after lap after lap, and it was so frustrating because I saw Fabio got past Wendell, and I had to do something about it to maintain the lead I was in. So hopefully for next week, what I could take out of this is to be better in traffic, because I'm like everyone here, I'm still learning about the difference between the GTEs.
Yes, we'll see how you do next week at Watkins Glen. Thank you very much for your time, Ronaldo, and congratulations on winning the GTEs.
Thank you.
That was our winner in the GTE class, Ronaldo Urena. I guess he could take a little bit of ray of sunshine for having taken over despite the spin. I had to get it in. But Sean, I'm going to hand over to you because you're going to talk to Dexter Castro, who didn't win in the GT3s but had a spirited battle for that second spot.
Dexter, can you believe he just said that?
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, you're amazing, but there's limits.
Never
Dexter,
limits.
Okay, let's talk about those limits. You had it on the limit all evening. It wasn't enough to catch Yabi, but talk about the battle you had with Benjamin Hackison. What was it like having him in your mirror?
Well, all I can say is that after so long in the BMW, it's nice to be in a car where I'm not just going to get past just because somebody's behind me exiting a corner. So I really, it was about the most calm battle I've ever been in the front of, just because I knew all I had to do was not mess up my corner exits, and he wasn't going to get enough overlap into the next corner. So it was just a really calm battle. But I've certainly been on the other end of that too.
You know, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but there was a moment when I said it just looked like you were getting a lot better drive off exit than he was, and that was where you were making it up. And of course, he'd get in the toe and catch up to you down a straight and into a turn. But it was really where you excelled was on exit. How do you set the car up to handle like that? Or if you want to give away that secret, I'm sorry.
I honestly don't know because I'm running a shared setup that I found on the forum for Mid-Ohio from last season, and I haven't touched anything on it. So I just started driving this car less than 24 hours ago, so I've got maybe a couple hours of seat time in it,
Okay.
but it's just so smooth, so easy to get up to speed in. I'm sure it's a whole other challenge trying to be actually fast in it, but getting up to speed has been so comfortable. It feels honestly just like the BMW, except it doesn't try to kill me as often.
Yeah, I can't relate to you. Just, I'm sorry. That just makes it sound way too easy. I don't know why it takes me 2 years to get up to speed on one car, and you're talking about 2 hours. So, hey, Dexter, really, really good run. We hope to continue to see you here on Friday evenings. It was sure fun calling you there, and congratulations on a big podium finish tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of would have liked to have been in the GTE, but honestly, I wouldn't have made the top split, so GT3 it is.
Okay, all right. Well, again, hope we see you back next week. Thanks again for coming in and chat with us.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys, that was Dexter Castro, our second place finisher in the GT3s tonight here in the HPP Simulation Challenge. Joe, who you got?
Well, unfortunately, a driver that didn't finish on the podium even, it was Cy Andre. He had a good chance of doing so right up until the late stages of the race, and then unfortunately a mistake put him in a bad position and caused him to DNF. Cy, talk to us first of all about something a little bit happier, maybe about that battle for the lead that you had with David Weiss and as well with Carlo Labate. You are a feisty one, I must say.
It was, I knew I had to get in front of David before we caught the GT3 traffic, so I was pretty much giving it my all, just trying to get in front of him, just because the leader has the advantage through traffic, and I knew that, so, and my qualifying position wasn't the best that I felt like I was capable of, so push, and then push some more.
Well, you pushed your way to the front, and that's what impressed me with where you qualified and getting your way up to the lead. Now, that pass that Labate made on the inside down into one, did that surprise you at all?
Did it surprise me? Yes, but it wasn't unexpected considering the way he passed my teammate as well going into 130R. So I had a little bit of I had some some knowledge that of the way he prefers to pass, and I'm not happy about it. And hopefully, some other people will agree with me. And when I probably ask other people about it, but I just hope Watkins Glen next week will be a little bit cleaner.
Yes, definitely. We like hard racing, but we like clean racing as well here on air. I'd say you gave us both, honestly. You did some fantastic moves out there. How do you feel your chances are at Watkins Glen, with that being a little bit of a different track to this one?
I think it's pretty good, considering we already have a pretty good setup lined up because of the 6 hours of the Glen. Of course, that's been postponed, but I think it'll make a good substitute setup for the IMSA races, so I think we're pretty well set up there.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Well, commiserations, and hopefully you'll have better results like your pace merited today. And we will see you next week.
All right, thanks for having me, and thanks for broadcasting.
That was Cy Andra, who fortunately finished in 30th overall today after a DNF, but did lead a number of laps out there today. Real quick, we're going to have a quick interview. Poor Ben Hackison, he's been very patient. He's over in the UK, and he is going to talk to Sean Ambrose about his fight with Dexter Castro for that podium spot.
Yeah, he stayed awake to talk to us, Joe. We got to get him in here. Ben, wow, what a race. What a show you two put on, chasing Dexter for the whole race. Where was your chance to maybe get by him? Where did it go wrong for you?
I'm happy I gave you guys a show. To start with, my qualifying lap was absolutely nowhere, and then I put an extra lap in fuel, which I didn't need. So I was hoping to jump in the pits, and then I had that move around the outside, which is my favourite move on the whole service. I love going around the outside of that corner, but I completely forgot the prototypes have to brake earlier than us, so I had to pull out the move and then just spin off.
Well, again, it was really one of the best battles on track for the entire 45 minutes. Are you satisfied with your choice of car in this series, and are you going to continue running for the full 12 weeks?
I'll be around. I don't know if I'll be in this time slot every week, but I'll either be in a GTE or a GT3 car. I like both, so.
Okay, and well, I certainly hope you're back with us here on Friday night. I know it's a bit late for you, man, but we enjoyed watching you tonight, and that was, again, one heck of a show you put on with Dexter. Thanks a lot for giving us a few minutes, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, cheers to you, Ben, and we'll talk to you soon. That was Ben Hackison. He is our third place finisher in the GT3s. Joe, man, that was, I'm still almost a little speechless.
Same here. I loved watching that race. But unfortunately, we're out of time. And our utmost apologies to David Weiss. I know he came and wanted to talk to us, but we've run out of time, unfortunately, here, and we've got to get going. So with that, we do want to thank HPP Simulation for being the official sponsor here of the HPP Simulation Sports Car Challenge. And of course, special thanks to Mark Hargert for working with us to make that sponsorship happen. And thanks to the IMSA community for putting on a great show today. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Justin, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. The next race we mentioned is going to be at Watkins Glen, very fast track. Going to be interesting to see how the three classes interact there. That'll be Friday, June 23rd at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. And that'll be a little bit of a longer one, 75-minute race that week. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.